At the airport, no one understood the American until the cleaner spoke in Arabic. David Thompson was desperately gesturing in the departure terminal of JFK International Airport in New York City, trying to explain something urgent to the staff who stared at him without understanding a single word of what he was saying in Arabic. His voice echoed through the halls as he pointed in different directions, sweat dripping down his face despite the air conditioning. That's when a cleaner approached, abandoning her cleaning cart upon hearing those familiar words. Sarah Jenkins Wilson, 47 years old, had worked at that airport for over 20 years and never imagined she would one day use the Arabic she had secretly learned. "Are you looking for someone?" she asked in fluent Arabic, making David turn around in surprise. The businessman stopped mid-sentence, his eyes wide with shock. How could this simple woman dressed in a grey cleaning uniform speak his native language so perfectly? You speak Arabic?" he replied in the same language, his voice trembling with relief and confusion. "Yes, sir. What happened?" David took a deep breath, trying to collect his thoughts. "My stepdaughter, Emily, 8 years old. She ran away during boarding for Chicago. She has autism and doesn't speak English well. I'm desperate." Sarah felt her heart tighten. There was something in the way he said the girl's name that stirred an old pain in her chest. What does she look like? What was she wearing? A blue dress with white flowers, curly hair tied with a yellow ribbon. She's special. Sometimes she hides when she gets scared. The cleaner closed her eyes for a moment, trying to remember if she had seen any child like that in the halls. The airport was enormous, with thousands of people passing through daily. "Let's look together," she said, grabbing her radio. "I have colleagues spread throughout the airport." As they walked through the terminals, David couldn't stop looking at Sarah with curiosity. "Where did you learn Arabic?" "It's a long story," she replied, avoiding his gaze. "What matters now is finding your daughter." "Stepdaughter," he corrected automatically, then seemed to regret the correction. Sarah spoke into the radio in English, mobilizing the entire cleaning team. Within minutes, voices began responding, confirming they would start the search immediately. David watched in fascination as this woman coordinated the operation with impressive efficiency. The staff clearly respected and trusted her. "How long has she been missing?" Sarah asked as they headed to Terminal 2. "About 2 hours. We were in the boarding line when she said she needed to use the restroom. I asked my assistant to go with her, but Emily managed to slip away in the crowd." "And her mother?" David hesitated before answering. "She doesn't have a mother anymore. I've been raising Emily alone for 3 years. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing. Sarah noticed the sadness in his voice but chose not to press further. They walked in silence for a few minutes until her radio crackled. "Sarah, it's Dorothy from Terminal 3. I found something strange in the women's restroom." "What is it?" "A drawing. It looks like a child left it here. There's a woman drawn in a uniform just like yours." Sarah stopped walking, a chill running through her stomach. "Let's go there." David followed her, sensing something had changed in her demeanor. They arrived at the restroom where Dorothy, a grey-haired black woman, waited with a crumpled paper in her hands. "It was lying on the floor near the trash can," she explained, handing over the drawing. Sarah took the paper with trembling hands. It was a drawing made with colored pencils, showing a woman in a grey uniform holding a broom. The lines were delicate, full of details that only a very observant child could capture. David approached and nearly lost his breath. "This is Emily's style. She draws like this, always with lots of tiny details." "But how does she know me?" murmured Sarah, studying every line of the drawing. "I've never seen that girl before." "Are you sure?" Sarah looked up at him, confusion on her face. "Yes. I'd remember a child who draws so well." Dorothy cleared her throat. "Sarah, there's something else. I found more drawings in your locker." "In my locker? How?" "I was changing the towels in the break room when I noticed your drawer was slightly open. There were several drawings inside. The 3 of them exchanged silent glances." David was the first to speak. "Can we see those drawings?" They walked to the staff break room, a small space with a few lockers and a table. Sarah opened her drawer with the key and stepped back, shocked. There were at least 10 colored drawings carefully folded inside. Each one showed different scenes: a woman mopping the floor, another serving coffee, a third looking out the window with a sad expression. "They're all by the same person," whispered David, immediately recognizing Emily's artistic style. Sarah picked up one of the drawings and felt her legs wobble. It was her, drawn with eerie precision. Even the small scar above her left eyebrow was there. "This doesn't make sense," she stammered. "How could a child I've never seen capture all these details about me?" David studied each drawing, his expression growing more troubled. "Emily has an incredible visual memory because of her autism. If she drew you this many times, it means she's been watching you for a long while." "But when? I work here every day. I know all the kids who come through regularly." Dorothy interrupted. "Sarah, do you remember that girl who sometimes showed up alone in the hallways? The one the other staff said was a little odd?" Sarah held her breath for a moment. "You mean the girl in the blue dress who always watched you from afar? We saw her here at least once a week for the past few months." David felt a mix of relief and confusion. "Emily came here alone? But that's impossible. She never leaves home without me." "Apparently she did," said Sarah, looking back at the drawings. "And she watched me without me noticing." Sarah's radio crackled again. "This is Michael from security. Got an update on the girl." "Go ahead, Michael." "I've been checking the camera footage from the past few months. That girl really did come here alone. Always slipped in and out without anyone noticing. Seems she knew all the routes." David ran a hand through his hair, completely baffled. "How did she even leave the house? I was always around." "Kids are smarter than we think," Dorothy said with a sad smile. "Especially the special ones. They find ways." Sarah put the drawings back in the drawer but kept one in her hands. It was the newest, still smelling of crayons. It showed her and a little girl holding hands, both smiling. "We need to find her," she said firmly. "If she's really been coming here for months, she must have favorite hiding spots." David nodded. "Where would a child feel safe in an airport?" "The old terminal," Sarah answered immediately. "It's closed to the public, but sometimes we take equipment there. It's quiet, with hardly any staff around." The three left the break room and headed to the abandoned terminal. David noticed how Sarah walked quickly, as if driven by some unexplainable urgency. "Do you have children?" he asked as they waited for the elevator. Sarah hesitated before answering. "I did. A daughter." "Did?" "She isn't with me anymore." Sarah's voice became almost inaudible. "It's been 5 years." David sensed he had touched on a painful subject and decided not to press further. The elevator arrived, and they descended in silence to the basement leading to the old terminal. The area was dimly lit, with long rows of empty chairs and abandoned counters. The echo of their footsteps reverberated through the empty space. "Emily?" David called in Arabic. "I'm here. Don't be afraid." They walked through several corridors without a response. Sarah scanned every corner, trying to think where a frightened child might hide. "There," she said, pointing to a darker area at the back of the terminal. "There's a small room where we store old supplies." They approached the room and Sarah slowly opened the door. No one was there, but the floor was covered in scattered paper and colored pencils. "She was here recently," David observed, picking up one of the still sharpened pencils. Sarah knelt to examine the papers. They were more drawings, but these were different. They showed familiar scenes: a large house, elegant people talking, a girl alone in a room. "These look like memories," she said, studying each detail. Emily was drawing her life. David knelt beside her, recognizing the settings. "This is our home, and these people are my family." She looks sad in the drawings. "Emily had a difficult childhood. My wife's family never fully accepted her because of her autism. After my wife passed, it got even worse." Sarah lifted a drawing that showed a girl crying while adults argued in the background. Poor thing. She must have felt so alone. "That's why we decided to move to the United States. I thought a new environment would help her adjust." "And is it helping?" David sighed. "Some days are better than others. but she's still very withdrawn. She rarely speaks, even to me. Sarah kept sifting through the papers until something caught her eye. In the corner of the room, half hidden behind a box, was an object that made her heart stop. "It can't be," she murmured, moving closer. It was an old rag doll with brown yarn hair and a faded blue dress. Sarah picked it up with trembling hands, recognizing every detail. "What is it?" David asked, noticing how pale she had become. "This doll," Sarah's voice faltered. "It belonged to my daughter." "What do you mean?" "Lily Grace. She loved this doll. Called it Princess Sparkle." David stepped closer, seeing the tears in Sarah's eyes. "But how did Emily get this doll?" "When Lily died, after the accident, I donated all her things to the airport charity foundation. I couldn't bear to look at anything that reminded me of her." "Sarah, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Lily was the same age as Emily when—" She couldn't finish the sentence. David gently touched her shoulder. "How long has it been?" 5 years next month. She was coming home from school when the bus. Again the words died in her throat. They stood in silence for a few minutes, Sarah clutching the doll to her chest. David began to understand why Emily had connected with this woman in such a mysterious way. "Do you think Emily found the doll at the charity bazaar?" he asked gently. "It must have been. The foundation holds a fair once a month here at the airport. Emily must have come to one of them." "And connected with the doll for some reason?" Sarah nodded, wiping her tears. "Special children sense things we adults can't explain." Her radio crackled again. It was Dorothy. "Sarah, Michael from security says he saw a girl on the terrace of Terminal 2. She's alone up there." "Let's go," David said immediately. Sarah hid the doll inside her jacket and they ran toward the elevator. The rooftop of Terminal 2 was a restricted area, used only for maintaining the air conditioning units. They climbed the emergency stairs and arrived on the rooftop, breathless. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. In the farthest corner, near the safety railing, stood a small girl in a blue dress. "Emily," David called softly in Arabic. The girl turned and Sarah saw her clearly for the first time. Dark, curly hair, big expressive eyes, just like in the drawings. But what struck her most was the deep sadness on that 8-year-old face. Emily looked at David, then at Sarah, and her eyes fixed on the doll peeking out from under the jacket. "Princess Sparkle," she whispered in English, surprising everyone. "You know the doll's name?" Sarah asked, stepping closer. Emily nodded and reached out her arms. Sarah handed her the doll and watched the girl's face light up for the first time. "Lily told me," Emily said, hugging the doll. David and Sarah exchanged confused glances. "Lily? Who's Lily?" "The dream girl. She told me about you. She said you were sad, and that Princess Sparkle knows how to heal sadness." Sarah's legs trembled. Lily Grace had been her daughter's nickname. How could Emily know that? "Emily," David said gently, "can you tell me more about these dreams?" The girl sat on the ground, still holding the doll. "Lily visits me when I'm very sad. She showed me Aunt Sarah and said she also lost a princess." Sarah knelt beside Emily, trying to steady her emotions. "What else did Lily tell you?" "That you need a new princess to take care of, and that I need a new heart, Mommy." The girl's words echoed across the quiet rooftop. David felt a lump in his throat, finally understanding why Emily had run away to this airport so many times. "Is that why you came here in secret?" Sarah asked. "Lily showed me the way. She said when I was ready you would find me." "But how did you leave the house without me noticing?" David asked. Emily looked up at him with her big eyes. "When you're in your office on the phone. Lily helped me open the door without making noise." David remembered the times he'd found the door slightly ajar and thought he'd forgotten to close it properly. "Emily, you know how worried I get when you disappear like this?" "I know, Uncle, but I needed to find Aunt Sarah. Lily said it was time." Sarah fought back tears. The way Emily spoke about her late daughter was both comforting and unsettling. "Emily," she said carefully, "do you understand that Lily isn't here with us anymore?" "I know. She's in the land of princesses who don't need dolls anymore." but she gave me Princess Sparkle to take care of until you're happy again." David looked at Sarah and saw she was deeply moved. There was something in Emily's innocence that touched a raw wound, but also brought a strange sense of peace. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now, continuing. "Aunt Sarah," Emily said, taking her hand, "do you want to be my new heart, Mommy? Lily said you know how to give hugs and tell stories." Sarah looked at David, unsure how to respond. He seemed just as lost, but there was something hopeful in his eyes. "Emily," David said, "Aunt Sarah has her own life, her own work." "But she's lonely too, like me," Emily interrupted. "Lily showed me. Her house has empty rooms and no laughter." The girl's observation hit Sarah like a punch to the gut. It was true. Ever since Lily Grace had left, her home had become a silent mausoleum. "How do you know about my house?" she asked. "Lily took me there in my dreams. She showed me the pink room that's always closed and the pictures on the wall that make you cry." David felt a chill. How could an 8-year-old know such specific details about the life of someone she supposedly had never met? "Emily," he said carefully, "maybe we should go home now. It's getting late." "I don't want to go home," she said, clinging to Sarah's arm. "No one there understands when I talk to Lily. They say it's all in my head." "And you talk to Lily at home too?" "Every night. She tells me stories about when she was little like me, about how Aunt Sarah used to braid her hair and make up different voices for each doll." Sarah stepped back, her heart racing. Those were intimate details only she and Lily had known. She had never told anyone about the voices she made up for the dolls during playtime. "This can't be real," she murmured. "Lily also taught me this song," Emily said, humming a soft melody. She said Aunt Sarah used to sing it to help her sleep. It was the lullaby Sarah had made up, just for Lily Grace. A simple tune she had never sung to anyone else. She felt the world spinning around her. "How did you—" she began, but couldn't finish. David watched the scene, not fully understanding what was happening, but sensing it was deeply meaningful to Sarah. "Aunt Sarah, are you feeling sick?" Emily asked, concerned. "I'm fine, sweetheart. It's just, all of this is very confusing for me." Lily said it would be confusing at first, but then you'd understand that sometimes the special people we love find a way to take care of us even after they become stars. David knelt beside them. "Emily, would you like Aunt Sarah to be our friend? She could visit us sometimes." "I want to live with her," Emily said firmly. Lily said that's what needs to happen. "But honey, these things are complicated. There are papers to sign, people to talk to." "Don't you love me anymore?" Emily asked, her eyes filling with tears. "Of course I do, Emily. You're the most important thing in my life." "Then why won't you let me live with someone who will understand me?" The girl's simple, direct question caught David off guard. He looked at Sarah, who still seemed stunned, holding the doll of her late daughter. "Emily," Sarah finally said, "are you sure this is what you want? You barely know me." "I do know you. Lily told me everything, that you like making cinnamon bread on Sundays, that you sing when you're happy, that you're afraid of thunder just like me." Every detail Emily mentioned was absolutely true. Sarah did make cinnamon bread on Sundays, a tradition she kept even living alone, and she had been afraid of storms since childhood. "Emily," David said, "I need to talk to Aunt Sarah alone for a moment. Can you stay here with Princess Sparkle?" "Okay, but don't take too long. Lily said today is the right day." David led Sarah to the other side of the terrace, where they could talk privately. "Sarah, I know this is overwhelming for you. You don't have to feel pressured. David, how can she know all these things about my daughter and about me?" "I don't know, but I've known Emily for 3 years, and she's never shown this kind of connection with anyone." "And that doesn't scare you?" David looked at the girl who was whispering to the doll. At first it did. The things she said, the ways she knew things she shouldn't have known. But I've learned that children like Emily perceive the world differently. Differently how? They pick up on signals we adults ignore, emotions, energy, connections that exist, but we can't explain rationally. Sarah looked at her own hands, still trembling. I feel as if Lily Grace is really trying to tell me something through her. And maybe she is. Not in the way we normally understand, but do you believe in things like that? David sighed. My culture is full of stories about connections that go beyond common understanding, and after living with Emily, I've learned not to dismiss anything. David, I need to tell you something about why I learned Arabic. He waited silently, sensing it was something important. After Lily Grace died, I fell into a deep depression. I almost lost this job. That's when a therapist suggested I find something completely new to focus my mind on. And you chose Arabic? Actually, I didn't choose it. It started when an Arabic passenger missed his connection and was stranded at the airport for 3 days. No one could communicate with him properly. I saw his despair and remembered how lost I felt when Lily Grace left. And you decided to learn so you could help others in the same situation? Exactly. I studied for 2 years every night after work. I told myself that if I could help even one person who was lost like that passenger, Lily Grace would be proud of me. David felt his heart tighten. And today, you helped me. No. Today I understood why I really learned Arabic. It wasn't to help a lost stranger. It was so I could understand Emily when she needed me. They sat in silence for a few minutes, watching the girl who kept talking to her doll as if it were the most natural thing in the world. David, Sarah finally said, what if Emily is right? What if this is really something that needs to happen? Are you seriously thinking about... I don't know. But looking at her, I see Lily Grace at that age. The same need for affection, for understanding. And I feel something I haven't felt in 5 years. What? The desire to care for someone again. David studied Sarah for a long moment. There was something in the way she looked at Emily that he'd never seen in any of his wealthy family members. It was genuine, unpretentious, full of love. Sarah, I need to tell you something about our family situation. What? My late wife's family never fully accepted Emily. They see her as a burden, something that complicated the perfect life they had planned. How could they think that about such a special child? Because to them, different means imperfect, and imperfect means shame. And you? What do you think? David looked at Emily with tenderness. That she's the purest, most genuine person I know, but I also know she needs something I can't give her. What? The unconditional love of a mother. I can give her affection, protection, care, but I can't replace the maternal presence she lost. Sarah felt his words echo in her heart. And you think I could? I don't know. But I saw how she responded to you. In 3 years, I've never seen her connect with anyone like this. But David, I'm just a janitor. I don't have money to give her the things a wealthy family could. Emily doesn't need expensive things. She needs someone who understands her, who has patience with her quirks, who loves her exactly as she is. And your family, what would they say if they knew you were considering leaving Emily with an airport employee? David laughed bitterly. They'd probably be relieved. One less thing to worry about. That's terrible. It's reality. That's why I brought Emily to the United States. To try to give her a fresh start, away from her family's expectations and prejudices. Sarah looked at Emily again, who was now humming softly to the doll. David, can I ask you a personal question? Of course. What was your wife like? Emily seems to miss her a lot. David took a deep breath before answering. Jennifer was complicated. She loved Emily, but she didn't know how to handle her special needs. She'd get frustrated, sometimes impatient. And did that affect Emily? A lot. Emily always knew when someone felt uncomfortable around her. Autistic children are extremely sensitive to that kind of energy. And after your wife passed, Emily withdrew even more. It was like she'd lost the only person in the world who at least tried to understand her. Until now. Until now, David agreed, looking at Sarah. Have you noticed how she's talking more than she has in months? It was true. Since they'd found Emily on the terrace, The girl had spoken more words than David usually heard from her in an entire week. "Aunt Sarah," Emily called from across the terrace, "are you done talking?" The two adults laughed and walked back to her. "Emily," David said, "Aunt Sarah and I were discussing a possibility. But first I need to know one thing. Are you sure this is what you want?" "I am. Lily prepared me for this a long time ago. And if it doesn't work out? If for some reason it doesn't?" Emily looked at him seriously. "Lily said some things we just know in our hearts will work out. This is one of those things." Sarah knelt in front of the girl. "Emily, if I agree to take care of you, you'll need to understand that my life is very different from the life you have with Uncle David." "Different how?" "I live in a small house. I work every day. I can't buy the expensive things you're used to." "But will you be affectionate and understand me when I do strange things? Always. And will you sing me to sleep like you did for Lily?" Sarah felt her eyes fill with tears. "If you want me to, then I want to. Expensive things don't hug us when we're sad." David watched the interaction between the two and felt a mix of relief and melancholy. It was obvious Emily had found something in Sarah that he'd never been able to give her. "David," Sarah said, "does this mean you—" "I'd still be her uncle. I'd visit often, be part of her life. But the two of you could have the chance to build the special relationship Emily needs so much." "And your family?" "My family will have to accept it. Emily is my responsibility, and I'll do what's best for her, even if it means going against their expectations, especially then." Emily stood up and took both adults' hands. "Lily said, when we found the right way to do this, I'd feel a little warmth right here," she pointed to her chest. "And I do." Sarah looked at David, still not quite believing what was happening. "David, are you sure you want to do this? It's such a big decision." "Sarah, for the past 3 years, I've watched Emily struggle to find her place in the world. Today, for the first time, I saw her find where she belongs. What if I can't be a good mother to her? What if I let both of you down?" Emily squeezed her hand. "Lily said heart mothers don't have to be perfect. They just have to love truly. And how does Lily know so much about heart mothers? Because she had two. The lady who was her real mother, and now me, who takes care of her doll and remembers her every day." Emily's answer made Sarah cry. For the first time in 5 years, they weren't tears of pain, but of a hope she didn't know still existed inside her. "Uncle David," Emily said, "can I hug my new heart, Mommy?" David nodded, moved. Emily threw herself into Sarah's arms, who held her tightly. At that moment, on the terrace of an airport, two wounded souls began a process of mutual healing. "Lily is happy," Emily murmured against Sarah's shoulder. "She said she can now rest, knowing the two of us will take care of each other." David watched the scene, feeling a peace he hadn't experienced in years. As inexplicable as the whole situation was, something profoundly right was happening. The sun had fully set when the three of them descended from the terrace. Emily clung to Sarah's hand, and David walked beside them, already mentally planning how to make this transition as smooth as possible. "Sarah," he said when they reached the main lobby of the airport, "we need to talk about the practical aspects of all this." "What kind of aspects?" "Documentation, legal guardianship, financial support. Emily will need special care, therapy." "David, I've worked for 20 years. I have health insurance, a small but comfortable home of my own. I can take care of her." "I know you can, but I want to make sure you have all the support you need. Emily is my responsibility, and that won't change." "How would it work?" "We can establish shared custody. You'd be the primary caregiver, but I'd remain the legal guardian until we can settle this permanently." "And your family?" David hesitated before answering. "My family will have to understand that Emily's happiness comes first, even if it makes them furious. Sarah, for years I've tried to balance my family's expectations with Emily's needs. The result was that no one was happy. Maybe it's time to prioritize what really matters." Emily, who had listened to the whole conversation in silence, tugged at David's sleeve. "Uncle, will your family be mad at me?" "No, sweetheart. If they're mad at anyone, It'll be me for making this decision. But it's the right decision, isn't it? David knelt to her level. Emily, sometimes the right decisions are the hardest to make. But yes, I think it's the right one. Lily said that when we make decisions with our hearts, people might be mad at first, but they'll understand later. Lily said that? She said it was like that when Aunt Sarah decided to learn Arabic. Everyone thought it was strange, but in the end, it served something very important. Sarah looked at Emily, impressed once again by the girl's wisdom. It's true. A lot of people asked me why I was spending time and money learning a language I'd never use. And now they know why, David said. Sometimes the universe prepares us for things we can't yet see. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now, continuing. They walked through the airport corridors toward the exit. Several employees greeted Sarah along the way, some glancing curiously at David and Emily. Aunt Sarah, Emily said as they walked, "Can I see your house today?" Sarah looked at David, uncertain. "Well, we still have a lot to talk about." "Please?" Lily said she wants to see if you changed anything in her room. "Emily," David said gently, "maybe it's best we save that for another day. Aunt Sarah needs time to prepare." "She doesn't need to prepare for me," Emily said simply. "Lily said I'll like the house just the way it is." Sarah stopped walking and looked at the girl. The truth was, since Lily Grace left, she hadn't changed a single thing in the house. Her daughter's room remained exactly as she had left it. "Emily, Lily's room is still just the way she left it. It might be sad for you to see." "Why would it be sad? Lily said it's a room full of love." David observed Sarah's expression and sensed the inner conflict she was facing. "Sarah, if you'd rather wait—" "No," she said suddenly. "Emily is right. Maybe it's time to let someone see that room is full of love, not sadness." They left the airport together. David had dismissed his driver, so they hailed a taxi. During the ride to Sarah's house, Emily gazed out the window as if recognizing the way. "It's right around here," she said, when they turned onto Sarah's street. "How do you know?" asked David. "Lily brought me here in my dreams, remember?" Sarah pointed out her house to the driver. It was a modest, middle-class home, well kept but unassuming. It had a small front garden and a cozy porch. "It's just like in the dreams," Emily said, stepping out of the taxi. David paid the fare, and the three of them walked to the front door. Sarah hesitated for a moment before unlocking it. "I haven't had visitors in 5 years," she said nervously. "The house might be a bit—" "It's perfect," Emily interrupted, before they even stepped inside. The interior was warm and tidy. Photos of Lily Grace were everywhere, on the coffee table, the walls, the bookshelf. A home where a mother's love for her daughter was instantly felt. Emily walked through the living room as if she knew every corner. She stopped in front of a photo of Lily Grace at 7, smiling as she held Princess Sparkle. "This was the first photo Lily showed me," she said, gently touching the glass. "It was the day she got Princess Sparkle." "How did you—" Sarah began, but stopped. She was starting to accept that some things had no logical explanation. "Can I see her room?" Emily asked. Sarah took a deep breath and led them down the hallway. The door to Lily Grace's room had remained closed for 5 years. With trembling hands, Sarah turned the knob. The room was exactly as Lily Grace had left it on that last morning before school. Bed made, dolls neatly arranged on the shelf, books stacked on the nightstand. Emily stepped in slowly, taking in every detail with tenderness. "Lily said you sometimes come here to smell her clothes." It was true. Sarah would occasionally open the closet just to catch the sweet scent still lingering on the little outfits. "And she said you talked to her while looking at that star by the window." Sarah followed Emily's gaze to the window, where a particularly bright star she always associated with Lily Grace shone outside. "Emily," David said, clearly moved by the details the girl knew, "did you really talk to Lily about all this?" "Every night for 3 months. She was preparing me for today." "What else did she tell you?" Emily walked to the dresser where a music box sat. She lifted the lid, and a soft melody began to play. "That Aunt Sarah needs to play this music again and not cry. Lily said when the music plays and someone is happy, she can hear it from the land of stars. Sarah sat on the bed, overcome with emotion. Lily loved this music box. She played it every night before bed. She still does. She wants you to play it for me too. Emily, would you like to sleep in this room? Can I? Lily said it would be our room, hers, mine, and Princess Sparkle's. How would it be ours? She'd watch over me in my dreams. I'd take care of Princess Sparkle when I'm awake, and you'd take care of both of us. David watched the interaction between Sarah and Emily, seeing how the girl was transforming Sarah's grief into something new, not forgetting the daughter she'd lost, but honoring her memory through love for another child. Sarah, he said, can I speak with you in the kitchen for a moment? They left Emily exploring the room and stepped into the kitchen. David sat at the table, looking at the photos of Lily Grace that also decorated the room. How are you feeling about all this? He asked. Confused, emotional, scared, hopeful, all at the same time. And what about what Emily says about Lily? Sarah hesitated before answering. David, I know it might sound crazy, but there are things she knows that are impossible for her to know, details I've never told anyone. And does that bother you? At first it frightened me, but now, it's as if Lily is really trying to tell me that everything's okay, that it's time to start over. And do you feel ready for that? I don't know if anyone is ever truly ready for such a big change, but I look at Emily and see a girl who needs love, and I feel like I have so much love to give. Sarah, I need to be honest about something. What? My family has a lot of money. When they find out about this decision, they'll probably try to complicate things. How? They might question your ability to care for Emily. They might try to use legal means to stop this. And would you let them? Never. But I want you to be prepared for possible difficulties. Sarah looked out the kitchen window, where she could see Emily playing in Lily Grace's room. David, can I ask you a difficult question? Of course. Why are you willing to stand up to your family for this? You barely know me. David thought carefully before answering. Because in 3 years, this is the first time I've seen Emily truly happy. And because I recognize something in you that my wife's family never had. What? The ability to love a special child exactly as she is, without trying to change or fix her. Emily doesn't need to be fixed. She's perfect just the way she is. Exactly. But not everyone understands that. Emily appeared at the kitchen door holding Princess Sparkle. Aunt Sarah, Lily wants to know if you can make that snack she liked. What snack? Bread with butter and sugar. She said you always ate it while watching cartoons together. Sarah smiled through her tears. It was true. On Saturday afternoons, she and Lily Grace had a ritual of making simple snacks and watching cartoons in the living room. Of course I can make it. Do you like cartoons? I do. Lily said you know the best ones. David watched the scene, seeing how naturally Sarah and Emily were connecting. It was as if they had been mother and daughter for years, not just a few hours. Emily, he said, how about if Aunt Sarah makes the snack and we talk about how our new family will work? Our new family, Emily repeated, her eyes shining. Yes, because that's what we are now, isn't it? Emily ran to hug him. Lily said you were special too, that not every uncle lets his niece choose where she wants to live. And was Lily right? Lily is always right about people, is right. She can see their hearts. Sarah prepared the simple snack while David and Emily settled in the living room. When she returned with the tray, she found them chatting excitedly about what their new routine would be like. Uncle David said I can keep going to his school, but now I'll come home to Aunt Sarah, Emily explained, biting into the sugar-coated bread. And do you like your school? Sort of. The other kids think I'm weird because sometimes I talk to myself. But you're not talking to yourself, you're talking to Lily, right? Yeah, Aunt Sarah understands. David smiled, seeing how Sarah was naturally validating Emily's experiences instead of discouraging them. Emily, Sarah said, can I ask you something about Lily? Sure. Is she okay where she is? Emily stopped eating and looked seriously at Sarah. Lily is just fine. She said the place she's in is full of light and she doesn't feel any pain anymore. Pain? From the accident. Lily said that in the end it hurt a little, but it passed quickly, and now she only remembers the good things. Sarah swallowed hard. For 5 years she had tortured herself wondering if Lily had suffered in the accident. And did she say anything else about what happened? She said it was just an accident, that no one was to blame, and that you don't have to feel bad anymore for not picking her up from school that day. David saw Sarah turn pale. Sarah, do you feel guilty about the accident? I've always blamed myself, she admitted in a weak voice. That day I asked Lily to take the bus home because I had to stay late at work. If I had gone to get her, it wouldn't have changed anything, Emily gently interrupted. Lily said some things are written in the stars and that the only thing that matters is the love that remains. Did Lily really say that? She did, and she also said she's very proud of the brave woman you've become. Brave? For learning Arabic, for helping lost people at the airport, for not giving up even when you were very sad. David watched Sarah process Emily's words. There was something deeply therapeutic in how the girl delivered these messages, as if she were truly bringing peace to old wounds. Emily, said David, did Lily tell you how she feels about you living here with Aunt Sarah? Lily said she's very happy because now she has 2 daughters, one who lives in the land of stars and another who lives in the land of smiles. Land of smiles? That's what Lily calls this world when people are happy and love each other. Sarah stood up and went to the window, trying to process everything that was happening. David, all of this still feels like a dream. For me too. But sometimes dreams are the universe's way of showing us possibilities our rational minds would reject. And what if it doesn't work out? What if Emily misses the life she had with you? Aunt Sarah, said Emily, moving closer to her, Lily told me a secret about you. What secret? That you have so much love stored in your heart, waiting for someone to love, and that when you love someone, that someone never wants to leave. And how does Lily know that? Because she was loved like that. She said even though she lives in the land of stars, she still feels the warmth of your love here. Emily placed her hand on her chest. And now she's going to share that warmth with me. David stepped closer to the 2 of them. Sarah, can I suggest something? Of course. How about we try it for a few weeks? Emily can stay here during the days and I'll pick her up some nights until we're sure it's working for everyone. You'd do that? I would. I want Emily to have the chance to live this experience, but I also want to make sure you don't feel overwhelmed. And your family. I'll handle my family. What matters now is the 2 of you. Emily clapped her hands. Lily said you'd find a good way to do this. Lily is being very wise then, said Sarah, smiling completely naturally for the first time in a long while. Lily was always wise. That's why she chose the best mommy in the world and now chose the best new mommy of the heart. David watched the scene, feeling a mix of melancholy and joy. It was strange to see Emily so connected to someone she'd only met hours ago, but at the same time it was exactly what she needed. David, said Sarah, can I ask you a personal question? Of course. Won't you feel jealous if Emily becomes more attached to me than to you? Sarah, for 3 years I tried to be everything for Emily. Father, mother, friend, caregiver. It was an enormous pressure for me and frustrating for her. If she's found in you what I couldn't give, I can only be grateful. Even if it means she prefers to stay here. Especially if it means that. Love isn't possession, it's the freedom to be happy. Emily looked at David with admiration. Lily Grace said you'd say that. Lily Grace said? She said you have a heart as big as Aunt Sarah's. That's why you 2 will be the best heart parents a girl could ever have. Heart parents? Yeah. You're my heart dad and she's my heart mom. Lily Grace said heart family is stronger than blood family. David felt his eyes fill with tears. In all these years, Emily had never referred to him as her father in any way. Emily, do you really see me as your dad? Of course, Uncle David. You take care of me, protect me, love me even when I do weird things. That's what dads do, right? That's exactly what dads do. Sarah watched their interaction, understanding the bond between them better. David truly loved Emily like a father, and she saw him the same way, even if they'd never put it into words before. "David," she said, "how about we set up a routine where Emily spends some nights here and some at your place? That way she gets the best of both worlds." "You'd do that, even if it means less time together?" "David, Emily needs stability, but she also needs to keep the bonds she's already built. You're important to her." "Aunt Sarah really gets it," Emily said, hugging Sarah. "Lily Grace said you'd understand that true love is wanting what's best for the person, not what's best for ourselves." "Lily Grace is teaching me so much through you." "She's teaching all of us," David said, "about love, about family, about what really matters." David's phone rang. He looked at the screen, and his expression changed immediately. "It's my family," he said tensely. "They probably realized Emily was missing and are worried." "Do you need to answer?" "I do, but I don't want Emily to hear the conversation." "Emily," Sarah said, "how about you show me how Lily Grace liked me to do her hair? We can go to the bedroom." "Sure. Lily Grace said you did the prettiest braids in the world." Sarah took Emily to the bedroom, leaving David alone to take the call. Through the window, he could see them chatting happily as Sarah combed Emily's hair. "Hello?" he answered. "David, where on earth are you?" His cousin Richard's irritated voice came through the line. "Emily disappeared, the school is worried, and you just vanished too." "Richard, I found Emily. Everything's fine." "Where are you? I'll send the driver to pick you up." "No need, we're sorting some things out." "What things?" "David, you're talking strangely." David took a deep breath. "Richard, I need to tell you about a decision I've made." "What decision?" "Emily is going to stay under someone else's care for a while." "What do you mean?" "David, have you lost your mind?" "I found someone who can give Emily what she needs, someone who understands her special needs." "David, whoever this person is, you can't just hand Emily over to a stranger. She's not a stranger. She's someone special." "Special how?" "David, you're scaring me. Where are you?" David looked through the window again, watching Sarah teach Emily how to braid Princess Sparkle's doll hair. "Richard, Emily has found a new family, and I fully support this decision." "New family? David, are you delusional? We are her family." "We are, but family isn't just blood. It's love, understanding, acceptance." "David, come home right now. We'll talk about this calmly. I'm not coming back today. Emily is happy here, and I want her to have this experience." "Here where?" "With someone who loves her the way she deserves to be loved." David hung up before Richard could protest further. He knew he'd complicated things, but he didn't regret it. He returned to the room where he found Sarah and Emily sitting on the bed, the girl with a perfect braid in her hair. "It looks just like Lily liked it," said Emily, admiring herself in the small mirror Sarah had handed her. "You look beautiful," agreed David. "Emily, my family is worried because you disappeared. I had to explain that you're fine." "Were they angry?" "A little confused, but they'll understand. Lily said it would be like this at first, but that later they'd see it was the right thing." Sarah looked at David, noticing the tension on his face. "David, will your family accept this?" "Eventually, yes. They might resist at first, but when they see how happy Emily is, they'll understand. And if they don't, then they'll have to learn to live with my decision." Emily got up from the bed and went to the window, looking at the star already shining in the dark sky. "Lily said to tell you she's very happy with everything that happened today." "She said that just now?" asked Sarah. "Yes, she appears every time I look at her star. She's smiling a lot." "What else did she say?" "That now she can rest because she knows you're no longer alone and sad." Sarah walked to the window and looked at the same star. For the first time in 5 years, she didn't feel only pain when thinking of her daughter. "Emily, can you tell Lily that I love her very much and that I'll always love her? She already knows, but she said she loves you too and that she's sending all her love through me." David watched the scene from the bedroom door, feeling he was witnessing something extraordinary. No matter how someone explained what was happening, it was undeniable that Emily was bringing healing to Sarah's pain. "Emily," he said, "it's getting late. Maybe we should go home today and come back tomorrow. Can I sleep here?" Lily said, "It's important for me to sleep in our room tonight." "Our room?" "Mine, hers, and Princess Sparkle's. Lily wants me to feel how good it is to sleep in a house full of love." Sarah looked at David, uncertain. "David, I don't mind her staying, but maybe it's too soon." "Please, Aunt Sarah. Lily said if I sleep here tonight, you'll have your first good dream in 5 years." "How can Lily know about my dreams?" "Because she gets sad when you cry in your sleep. She wants you to dream of happy things." David saw Sarah's expression and realized she truly wanted Emily to stay. "Sarah, if you're sure it's no trouble." "It's no trouble. In fact, it would be really nice to have someone in the house again." "Then it's settled," said Emily, flopping onto the bed. "Lily said she'll take care of my dreams and yours." David said goodbye to Emily with a kiss on her forehead and promised to return the next day to take her to school. As he was leaving, Sarah walked him to the door. "David, thank you for trusting me. Thank you for giving Emily something I never could." "What?" "The feeling of belonging somewhere. She always belonged. She just needed to find where." David smiled and headed to the taxi he'd called. Before getting in, he turned to Sarah. "Sarah, no matter what my family says or does, Emily has found her home with you, and I'll protect that, even if it causes trouble for you, especially because of that." David got into the taxi and waved through the window as it drove away. Sarah stood at the door, watching the car's lights disappear down the street. When she went back inside, she found Emily already in pajamas, brushing her teeth in the bathroom with a toothbrush Sarah had given her. "Emily, did you bring pajamas?" "No, but Lily showed me where you kept her old ones." Sarah went to the bedroom and saw Emily had found a drawer she'd kept closed for 5 years. It held some of Lily Grace's clothes she hadn't been able to donate. "You don't mind if I wear them, right?" Lily said she'd be happy. "Of course I don't mind, sweetheart." Emily was wearing a pink pajama with star prints that had been Lily Grace's favorite. It was a little big on her, but she didn't mind. "Aunt Sarah, can you sing that song for me to fall asleep?" "What song?" "The one you used to sing for Lily. She taught it to me." Sarah sat on the bed beside Emily and began humming the same melody that had lulled Lily Grace to sleep so many nights. For the first time in 5 years, singing that song didn't hurt. "Lily is singing along," Emily murmured, snuggling under the covers. "How do you know?" "I can hear her voice mixed with yours. It's really beautiful." Sarah kept singing until Emily fell asleep, hugging Princess Sparkle. When she finished the song, she stayed for a few minutes watching the girl sleep. For the first time in 5 years, Lily Grace's room felt alive again, and for the first time in 5 years, Sarah felt whole once more. Before leaving the room, she looked out the window at the bright star she always associated with her daughter. "Thank you, Lily," she whispered. "Thank you for giving me another chance to be a mother." That night, Sarah had her first good dream in 5 years. She dreamed of Lily Grace and Emily playing together in a garden full of flowers, while she watched them from the porch, feeling a deep peace in her heart. The next morning, she woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of laughter coming from the kitchen. Emily had woken up early and was trying to make breakfast. "Good morning, Aunt Sarah. Lily showed me where you keep everything." "Good morning, sweetheart. Did you sleep well?" "I slept great. Lily appeared in my dream and introduced me to all her friends in the land of stars. They said they're happy because now you have someone to take care of." Sarah hugged Emily, feeling immense gratitude for everything that had happened in the last 24 hours. "Emily, do you really want to live here with me?" "I really do. Lily said this way you two can take care of each other. And won't you miss Uncle David's house? I'll visit him often, but this is where my heart wants to stay." "Then this is where you'll stay." David arrived an hour later to take Emily to school. He found the two of them making sandwiches in the kitchen, talking as if they'd been mother and daughter for years. "How was the first night?" he asked. "Perfect," Emily replied. "Lily watched over our dreams, just like she promised." "And you, Sarah?" "How do you feel this morning?" "Like I've woken up from a very long sleep," she answered, smiling. David watched the scene, seeing how naturally Sarah and Emily interacted. It was exactly what he'd hoped to see. "David," Sarah said, "did your family call?" "Several times. I'll have to talk to them today." "Are you worried?" "A little, but determined. Emily has found where she belongs, and nothing will change that." "Lily said Uncle will talk nicely to them, and they'll understand," Emily said, biting into her sandwich. "I hope Lily's right. Lily is always right about important things." David took Emily to school, but not before arranging to pick her up in the afternoon and bring her back to Sarah. During the day, Sarah worked at the airport with an energy she hadn't felt in years. Several co-workers commented on how different she seemed, lighter. "Sarah, you seem like a whole new person today," Dorothy said during lunch break. "I feel like a whole new person." "What happened? Does it have to do with that American man and the girl from yesterday?" Sarah told Dorothy and a few other close co-workers about Emily and the decision she'd made. Their reaction was surprise, but also joy at seeing her happy again. "Sarah, are you sure you're ready for this?" asked Michael, the security guard. "I don't know if anyone is ever truly ready for these things, but I know it's what my heart is asking for." "And the girl? How does she feel?" "It's like we've been searching for each other without knowing it." In the afternoon, David had to face a difficult meeting with his family. As expected, their reaction was disbelief and anger. "David, have you completely lost your mind?" said his Aunt Margaret, the family matriarch. "How could you hand Emily over to an airport employee?" "I'm not handing her over. I'm giving her the chance to have a family that understands her. We are her family." "Yes, we are, but we've never been able to give her what she truly needed." "And what does she need that we can't provide?" "Unconditional acceptance, love without judgment, patience with her differences." Richard interrupted the conversation. "David, this woman might be taking advantage of the situation. You know nothing about her." "I know enough. I saw how Emily reacted to her. In 3 years, I've never seen my stepdaughter so happy and relaxed." "David," said Margaret, "Emily is a special child. She needs professional care, expensive therapies, specialized schools. A janitor can't provide that. And I can keep providing all of that. The difference is that now Emily will also have the unconditional love she needs." "Are you implying we don't love Emily?" David stopped pacing the room and faced his family. "I'm saying our love has always come with conditions, with the expectation that she'd become more normal, more socially acceptable." "That's not true, isn't it? How many times have you suggested I look into a specialized institution? How many times have you said it would be better for everyone if Emily stayed where she could get proper care?" The silence that followed was telling. David continued. "Sarah looks at Emily and sees a perfect child who needs love. You look at her and see a problem that needs fixing." "David, you're being unfair," protested Richard. "I'm being honest, and I'm making a decision based on what's best for Emily, not what's most convenient for our family. What if this woman gets tired of her? What if she realizes caring for an autistic child is harder than she imagined? Then I'll take her back, but I don't believe that will happen." "Why are you so sure?" David thought of Emily talking to Lily Grace, of Sarah singing her to sleep, of how the two had connected instantly. "Because she doesn't see Emily as a burden. She sees her as a blessing." The argument went on for 2 more hours, but David stood firm in his decision. In the end, his family reluctantly agreed to give the new arrangement a chance, though they made it clear they'd be watching closely. When David arrived at Emily's school that evening, he found her playing alone in the yard, as usual. But there was something different in her posture. She seemed more confident, more at ease. "How was your day at school?" he asked as they walked to the car. "Good. I told my teacher about Aunt Sarah." "And what did you say?" "That I found a new heart, Mommy. She was curious and asked if you knew." "And what did you say?" "That you were the one who took me to meet her, and that you're happy because now I have 2 homes full of love." David smiled. "And it's true. You have 2 homes full of love." "Uncle David, Was your family mad? A little, but they'll understand in time. Lily said that when someone gets mad at first, it's because they're afraid of losing someone they love. Lily said that? Yes. And she said you'd explain to them that real love wants to see the person happy, even if it's far away. David stopped the car at a red light and looked at Emily in the rearview mirror. Emily, are you happy with these changes? So happy, Uncle David. For the first time, I feel like I've found where I belong. And you know you can always count on me, right? I know. Lily said you'll always be my father in my heart, no matter where I live. When they arrived at Sarah's house, she was waiting on the porch. Emily ran to hug her as if they were mother and daughter reuniting after a long time. How was school? Sarah asked. Good, I told everyone about you. And what did you tell them? That now I have a mommy who understands when I talk to Lily and who knows how to braid my hair just like she liked. David watched the interaction between the two, confirming his certainty that he had made the right decision. Sarah, he said, I spoke with my family today. How did it go? Hard, but necessary. They'll need time to accept it, but they agreed to respect my decision. And you? Are you okay with all of this? I'm at peace. For the first time in a long while, I'm truly at peace. Emily tugged at David's sleeve. Uncle, do you want to see how Aunt Sarah fixed up the room? Of course. They went to Lily Grace's room, which now had some of Emily's belongings mixed with Lily's. The Princess Sparkle doll sat on the armchair, surrounded by books Emily had brought. It's perfect like this, David said, as if two special friends were sharing the same space. That's exactly it, Emily replied. Lily said now we have a heart sister room. Heart sisters, yes. She takes care of me in my dreams, and I take care of her things here. Sarah looked around the room, feeling something entirely new. For the first time in 5 years, that space was no longer a shrine of grief, but a place of continued love. David, she said, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you think that Lily is really communicating with Emily? Sarah, after everything I've seen and heard these past 48 hours, I don't dismiss anything, but no matter how we explain it, what matters is that Emily is bringing healing to your pain and finding the family she needed. And is that enough? It's everything. That evening, David had dinner with Sarah and Emily for the first time. It was a simple domestic scene, but deeply meaningful. 3 people who had met by chance were forming an unconventional yet real family. Uncle David, Emily said during dinner, can you sleep here tonight too? I don't know if Aunt Sarah has space. I have a comfortable couch in the living room, Sarah said. If you'd like to stay, you're more than welcome. Lily said it would be important for all of us to sleep under the same roof tonight, Emily insisted. Why would it be important? Because then we'll all dream together and wake up knowing we're truly a family. David looked at Sarah, who nodded with a smile. Why not? It'll be interesting to see what a family night feels like. Our first family night, Emily corrected. They watched TV together in the living room, Emily sitting between David and Sarah on the couch. It was an ordinary scene for any family, but extraordinary for those 3, who had found in each other exactly what they needed. Emily, Sarah said, did Lily tell you anything else about our family? She said you 2 will take very good care of me, and that I'll help you be happy too. How will you help us be happy? By reminding you every day that love is the most important thing in the world, and that family is who we choose to love, not just who we were born with. David and Sarah exchanged glances over Emily's head, both moved by the girl's wisdom. Lily is right, David said. Family is who we choose to love. And we choose to love each other, Sarah added. Forever, Emily finished, hugging them both. That night, for the first time in a long while, 3 people slept under the same roof, feeling completely at home. The next morning they woke to sunlight streaming through the windows and the smell of coffee Sarah had made. David slept soundly on the couch. Emily had spent the entire night without nightmares, and Sarah had dreamed of Lily Grace and Emily playing together. How did we sleep? Sarah asked during breakfast. Like a family, Emily replied simply. And that's exactly what they were now. A family built not by blood but by love. A family that had found each other at the moment they needed one another the most. End of story. Now tell me what you thought of this touching story about how love can bring people together in unexpected ways. Did Emily truly find her new family? What do you think about the special connection between her and Lily Grace? Share your heartfelt thoughts on how this story moved you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss other heartwarming stories like this one.